The opening scene begins with Takizo lying on a battlefield among countless soldiers. Heavy rain is pouring down, and he desperately tries to drink the rainwater. This is the aftermath of the Battle of Sekigahara, which has ended with these corpses scattered across the field. Takizo, still lying there, is wounded. His leg has a deep gash that's bleeding profusely. As he lies there contemplating, he hears the voices of enemy soldiers approaching. These soldiers, assuming he's dead like the others, pass by him, splashing mud on his face as they go. He considers himself a failure. As dawn breaks and the sun's crimson light touches the earth, we discover that besides Takizo, another person has survived Matahachi. He's apologizing to his mother, saying he abandoned his village and everything to make a name for himself, but he has failed. He also apologizes to a girl named Otsu. Suddenly, someone appears before Matahachi and calls him a survivor. Matahachi fears this person is a refugee hunter who kills war refugees. But this person is none other than Takizo, who tells him that he too has survived. Matahachi, terrified, keeps his face pressed to the ground. When Takizo calls him by name, Matahachi finally gathers courage to look up. Seeing Takizo, Matahachi feels relieved. He tells Takizo how frightened he was. Takizo asks if he can walk and says they need to leave this place. Night falls, and Takizo supports Matahachi as they walk. Matahachi says he can't go any further and asks to be left behind. They've been walking for days, surviving only on grass. Matahachi goes to urinate in the grass. Meanwhile, Takizo, bandaging his wounds, says they just need to find a village where they can get medicine and everything will be fine. Matahachi asks Takizo if this is why they came here. They left their village to make their names, to kill generals, but forget about enemies. They were just given the task of cutting grass to make roads. Instead of spears, they were given sickles. In the side, they fought for lost the Battle of Sekigahara. While Matahachi speaks, Takizo notices movement behind them. Matahachi continues, saying he doesn't think he can survive much longer. He wants Takizo to take care of Otsu if he dies. Suddenly, someone places a sword on Matahachi's shoulder from behind, calling him a survivor. Matahachi thinks it's Takizo playing a joke and tells him to stop fooling around. He throws his urine at the person and turns around, only to barely dodge a sword attack from a refugee hunter. The attack grazes Matahachi's arm, drawing blood. As the refugee hunter prepares for a second strike, he slips on Matahachi's foot. Taking advantage of this, Matahachi runs toward Takizo. When he reaches Takizo, he finds that refugee hunters have already surrounded him, with Takizo holding one of them. There's a different blue trace in Takizo's eyes. Even the hunter realizes Takizo is strong. Takizo tells the hunter that if they try to kill him, he'll kill them instead. Takizo headbutts the hunter, and in the next second, smashes the hunter's head against a nearby tree. The second hunter, seeing this, freezes in fear. Takizo picks up a large stone and throws it at the hunter fighting Matahachi, causing the hunter to lose an eye. Takizo then takes a thick wooden log and strikes the hunter's head so hard that not only does the hunter's skull crack, but the log splits in two. With the broken wood, he attacks the hunter's throat, shoving it deep into his neck. Blood pours from the hunter's mouth as he dies. The third hunter, witnessing this, trembles with fear and falls to the ground. Takizo's eyes show nothing but bloodlust as he kills this hunter too. Under the full moon, Takizo supports Matahachi as they walk. In this moonlit night, Takizo declares he won't die. Matahachi also declares he won't die either. Matahachi tells Takizo they'll both make their names, but then collapses. Takizo runs to find help to save his friend, and comes upon a place filled with corpses. He approaches one body and vomits on it. He realizes his own body is failing too and falls to the ground. As he's about to lose consciousness, he sees a girl. This girl is Akemi, whom we'll learn more about later in the story. Takizo then loses consciousness. Chapter 2. In the next scene, Takizo and Matahachi regain consciousness and find themselves in a house. Matahachi asks Takizo if he knows where they are. Takizo says they should be grateful they survived. It's nighttime, and Takizo watches a woman sleeping. Her name is Oko, Akemi's mother. She calls Takizo by name, and he wakes up, She's drinking and invites Takizo to join her. Takizo tells Matahachi they should leave as they're completely healed now, but Matahachi insists they shouldn't leave without thanking Oko. She saved them both and kept them in her house for several days. They shouldn't reveal they're fugitives. Hearing this, Oko tells Takizo to stay. She explains that fugitive soldiers are being killed because the Western generals haven't capitulated yet. She suggests one of them marry her daughter Akemi. When Matahachi looks shyly at Akemi, Oko refuses. Takizo leaves the house without looking at her. In the next scene, Takizo is gathering mushrooms in the forest when Akemi arrives and tells him these mushrooms are poisonous. Akemi asks Takizo why he isn't asking her questions, like how she lives here, what her future is, where her father is, why she lives on this mountain with her mother, and why she wears a veil. Takizo understands that Matahachi must be asking her these questions, and his suspicion is correct. Akemi tells him that Matahachi asks her questions constantly every day. Takizo and Akemi look at each other. Akemi waits for his question. Takizo asks her age. She says 15. Takizo says he thought she was much younger. Akemi asks Takizo's age. He says 17. To tease him, Akemi says she thought he was 30. She tells him to ask something else. Takizo asks what she was doing in the field, full of corpses and night. She rescued him and Matahachi. The scene shifts to Matahachi, who sees many swords in Oko's house. He doesn't understand why there are so many swords here. Oko arrives and explains that they go to battlefields to collect weapons from dead soldiers, sell them, and that's how they make their living. The way Oko talks to Matahachi suggests she's trying to seduce him. After Akemi tells Takizo they're thieves, she asks if he wants to ask anything else. Takizo notices a person with a sword and asks Akemi who that person is. Akemi doesn't answer and throws a stone at the person, which lands near his feet. Takizo grabs Akemi's hand and realizes she's trembling with fear. Akemi tells Takizo that person is Tsujike's Tenma, who murdered her father. Chapter 3. Tsujike's Tenma is revealed to be a bandit general whose sole purpose is to rob people in the mountains. While hiding weapons, Takizo discovers a wooden sword. He wields it with such skill and precision that it seems as if he's handling a real blade. Even Matahachi, watching him practice, becomes frightened by the intensity of Takizo's swordsmanship. The wooden sword feels right in Takizo's hands, and he decides to keep it. Oko watches him, telling him the wooden sword suits him perfectly. There's something flirtatious in the way she speaks to Takizo, her eyes lingering on him longer than necessary. This doesn't go unnoticed by Matahachi, who grows jealous and demands a weapon for himself. The scene shifts to nighttime. Everyone sits together, sharing dinner and drinks in what should be a peaceful moment. Oko positions herself intimately close to Takizo, her body language unmistakable. Takizo has become intoxicated, the sake affecting his judgment in his drunken state. He tells Matahachi they should leave this house. Oko asks where they would go after leaving here. Takizo refuses more drinks, declaring he wants to return home as a man. While drinking more, he reveals something crucial. His fiancée Atsu is waiting for him back in the village. Upon hearing this revelation, Oko's demeanor changes. She coldly states that if they want to leave, they can go. She won't stop them. Due to excessive drinking, Takizo falls into a deep sleep. In his dreams, Takizo encounters himself, a disturbing vision where he questions his other self about his mother. His dream self tells him she's gone, and he shouldn't dwell on her memory anymore. In this surreal nightmare, Takizo stares at himself with an intensity that makes his dream self uncomfortable. "Don't stare at me like that," his other self warns. Takizo is looking at himself like a wild beast, something primal and dangerous in his gaze. He jolts awake from the dream to find Oko watching with eyes full of lust and desire. Takizo immediately sits up, alarmed. Oko approaches him slowly, deliberately, placing her hand on his lips. She calls him a bad boy in a sultry voice, saying he should know exactly how she looks at him. As she says this, she leans in and bites his lips with her teeth, a bold, aggressive move. Seeing this, Takizo pushes her away forcefully. Just then, they hear urgent knocking at the door, growing louder and more insistent. We learn it's Tsujike's gang arriving for revenge. Chapter 4. The chapter opens with tension, as Oko demands to know how Takizo dares to embarrass her by rejecting her advances. Outside, Tsuchike's gang pounds on the door harder, their voices growing more threatening. The scene reveals that Tsuchike's gang has already entered the house and is conducting a thorough search. Oko sits quietly in a room, maintaining her composure despite the danger. A gang member approaches her, demanding she reveal where she's hidden the stolen goods. Tenma steps forward, offering her a deal. If she agrees to be with him, she won't have to suffer the consequences of defying them. Oko looks at him with burning anger in her eyes and asks what kind of woman would want to live with her husband's murderer. Her words are sharp, cutting, filled with years of suppressed rage. Tenma orders his men to check the ceiling. One by one, all the weapons that Matahachi had carefully hidden begin falling down, clattering to the floor in a cascade of steel. The gang members also discover Akemi hiding in a cupboard, trembling with fear. They inform their boss Tenma about finding Akemi. With cruel indifference, Tenma orders his gang members to rape her. He calls Oko a fool for refusing his offer, moving toward her room with violent intent. The perspective shifts to show us what Oko sees. Takizo and Matahachi are positioned on both sides of the gate, weapons in hand, muscles tensed, waiting for Tenma to enter their trap. Tenma is about to cross the threshold, but stops at the last moment, his instincts warning him. Takizo and Matahachi hold their breath, waiting for him to step inside. "Don't take me for a fool," Tenma says with a knowing smile. He suddenly kicks the door with tremendous force, creating a hole through which he strikes Matahachi, sending him tumbling to the ground. He then kicks the door toward Takizo with such power that it flies off its hinges. As Takizo deflects the door, he suddenly finds Tenma right in front of him. In one swift motion, Tenma grabs Takizo's face and slams it into the ground with brutal force. He lifts Takizo's head again only to smash it down once more, the impact reverberating through the floorboards. Matahachi and Akemi watch in terror, paralyzed by the violence unfolding before them. But then Tenma feels a sharp pain in his hand. The pain intensifies, forcing him to release his grip on Takizo's face. Blood flows from Tenma's hand. Takizo had concealed a sharp stone in his mouth. In the next instant, Takizo spits the bloody stone directly at Tenma's face and follows up with a devastating attack using his wooden sword, striking Tenma's head with all his might. Chapter 5. Blood begins flowing freely from Tenma's head, where Takizo's wooden sword connected. Takizo rises to his feet, ready for battle, his eyes burning with determination. He declares that leaving Hanaiden village was the right decision. He's no longer the boy he once was. Tenma, realizing his carelessness, thinks he underestimated Takizo by dismissing him as just a child. Seeing an opportunity while Takizo repositions himself, Tenma attempts to flee. He bursts out of the house and runs toward the forest, his pride abandoned in favor of survival. Takizo gives chase, his voice cutting to the night air. How can a leader flee from battle? His words strike at Tenma's honor, but the bandit leader is beyond caring about reputation now. Tenma thinks to himself that it's better to retreat now and seek revenge later when he's better prepared. Fear has taken root in Tenma's heart. He admits to himself that he's never encountered anyone like Takizo. The boy's gaze is like that of a devil or a wild beast, inhuman, terrifying, promising death. Exhausted from running, Tenma glances back and sees a sight that freezes his blood. Takizo is above him, wooden sword raised high, descending like divine judgment. Takizo brings a wooden sword down with every ounce of his strength, striking Tenma's skull with such force that it splits open. The supposedly harmless wooden sword has become an instrument of death in Takizo's hands. After the killing blow, Takizo stands there, processing what he's done. He's killed Tenma with nothing but a wooden sword. Something has changed within him. He's become like a beast, his eyes reflecting nothing but bloodlust and violence. As he returns from the forest toward the house, he finds Matahachi outside, surrounded by the corpses of gang members he's killed. Matahachi asks if the gang members put up any real fight. Takizo responds that even the boss wasn't anything special. Then Matahachi makes a bold announcement to the night air. "We are Matahachi and Takizo from Hanaiden village. Takizo can defeat anyone." In a moment of bizarre celebration, They place their hands on each other's shoulders and begin dancing among the corpses, their laughter echoing through the darkness. Oko watches from a distance, thinking these two are like children playing with death, unable to comprehend the gravity of what they become. Madahachi then proudly announces that he has killed 4 people, as if keeping score in some terrible game. Chapter 6. Madahachi sits outside in the moonlight. He questions himself about how he can sleep. He thinks he'll kill Tsuchike's Kohei too. Today was the first time in his life he killed someone, remembering his fight. He thinks about how he's 17 years old, no longer a child but a man. He looks at the room in front of him. He knows Oko is in that room, and he wants to have sex with her. He opens her room's gate and enters. Oko is sleeping. Madahachi, nervous, removes his clothes and climbs on top of Oko. As he moves to kiss her, she asks who he is, Takizo or Madahachi. Hearing this, he becomes nervous. He reminds himself that he's a man who has killed 4 people. He identifies himself as Takizo and begins having sex with her. He questions himself about why he said that and what he's doing. Oko realizes it's Madahachi. She tells Madahachi she thought he had more balls. In the next scene, Takizo, Akemi, and Madahachi are washing clothes in a river. Madahachi is sad. He questions why he used Takizo's name last night. He apologizes to Otsu. Then he tells Takizo they should leave for their village Hanaiden today. While they're talking, members of Tsuchike's gang approach Oko. They warn each other to be careful of Takizo and Madahachi. Their boss is dead, so they can do whatever they want with Oko. Oko tells them she misses them and asks them to take her advice and leave. Madahachi, hearing this, feels Takizo has made plans to stay with Akemi and Oko. Takizo tells him that the day he left his village, he decided he wouldn't return. He picks up a thick log and declares himself a vagabond. Then Takizo notices members of Tsuchike's gang approaching from behind. Chapter 7. Akemi tells him her mother is still at home. Seeing this, Takizo advises Akemi to stay there. Takizo and Madahachi both run toward the house. Akemi stands there, remembering Takizo's words, want to stay with Takizo. Takizo runs incredibly fast, leaving Madahachi far behind. The scene reveals several gang members inside the house. Takizo, still running, charges straight inside. Madahachi stops outside after seeing so many horses. He realizes entering the house means certain death. Then he remembers he left his sword inside the house. Takizo is inside asking about Oko. Bandits have surrounded him from all sides, and they've realized he's the one who killed Tenma. They can't believe a child killed Tenma. They don't want this news to spread, or Tsuchike's gang's reputation will be ruined. One bandit approaches Takizo with a sword. Takizo blocks his attack with his bare hand. Another bandit attacks from the side with a spear. Takizo pulls a caught bandit in front of the spear, and it pierces through him. Meanwhile, Madahachi stands outside, completely drenched in sweat. He doesn't understand why he can't go inside. He thinks to himself, if he doesn't go in now, he killed 4 people just yesterday. Despite being the same age and from the same village, why does he always feel inferior to Takizo? He makes up his mind to go inside and kill those bandits. He counts to 3 to enter. After finishing the count, he runs toward the house when he hears a voice from behind. It's Oko's voice. She tells him she wasn't feeling well inside, so she came out, and that's when the gang members entered. Madahachi has grabbed Oko by the shoulder and notices she's trembling. She tells Madahachi she's still shaking because she knows Tenma liked her and she's terrified. Saying this, she embraces Madahachi and they both fall to the ground. Inside, Takizo is fighting. He's cutting down everyone one by one with his sword. He's already sent 2 or 4 bandits to their deaths. A bandit attacks him with a sword. Takizo tries to block with his sword, but it breaks. He shoves the broken sword into that bandit's head. Another bandit attacks from behind with a spear, tearing Takizo's clothes. With one sword strike, Takizo cuts off that bandit's head. He calls out to Madahachi, asking if he's alive, to respond if he is. Takizo continues killing all the bandits one by one while his friend Madahachi is with Oko. Evening approaches, and Takizo has sent all the bandits to their deaths. The room is filled with corpses. Outside the room, there are more bodies that crows are feeding on. As he's leaving, he notices Oko's hairband and Matahachi's clothes. He realizes where Matahachi is. Chapter 8. A child is doing his business when he sees someone and gets scared. Frightened, he runs to his granny. The granny asks about his work. The child tells her he has important news for her. The granny slaps him twice and says he belongs to the Hanaiden family, which is very hardworking, and he shouldn't ruin their reputation. The child tells her he saw Shinmen Takizo. This granny is Matahachi's mother. The granny becomes very serious. In her joy, she shouts Matahachi and runs toward her house. She asks the villagers if her Matahachi has returned. A boy tells her it's been a year since Matahachi left. She should forget about him. The old granny beats him too. She says if he's returned, it means Matahachi must have returned too. The granny beats everyone there with her stick, telling them to find her son. Otsu sits thinking she cannot forget Matahachi. Even if Otsu has someone else, she should know about Matahachi's return. At this time, someone is watching the granny from the bushes. She prays that Matahachi is alive. She thinks if Takizo hadn't dragged Matahachi to war, he would have been married by now and would be the Hanaiden family heir. She searches for Takizo, hoping he hasn't come here without Matahachi. As she goes to meet the Shinmen family, she encounters samurai on the way. The granny has never seen these samurai before. They're searching for someone. When they approach someone, the samurai asks the granny if she's from the Shinmen family. The granny asks why they're asking. They tell her they're looking for someone named Takizo who broke through the border and fled. And Takizo has killed 2 of their samurai. The granny asks if Takizo is alone or with her son Matahachi. The samurai tell her he came here alone. Hearing this, the granny breaks down and falls to the ground. She searches for Takizo. The samurai understands that Matahachi must have died in battle. They advise the granny to forget about Matahachi. The granny holds Takizo responsible for Matahachi's death and helps the samurai capture Takizo. Other samurai are also searching for him. Then a beautiful girl passes by them. This girl is Otsu. From the samurai's conversation, it's clear they've been chasing Takizo for several days but haven't had any success. The granny tells the samurai this isn't surprising. She explains that when Takizo was 13, he killed a man, a martial artist. Gradually, he became violent and eventually dragged Matahachi into war with him. The granny thinks about why Takizo survived, but her Matahachi couldn't. As she's leaving, the samurai find another body that Takizo killed. From the warmth of the dead body, they estimate Takizo hasn't gone far. Seeing this, she becomes frightened and starts to leave. Just then, Takizo emerges from the bushes in front of Otsu. Seeing him, Otsu gets scared and screams. Takizo, seeing this, runs away. The samurai arrives and asks Otsu if she's okay. Otsu can't believe her eyes, that she saw Takizo in person. Chapter 9. This chapter begins at Shippoji Temple. Captain Aoki and his samurai have stopped at the temple. The granny tells them it's not surprising they couldn't catch Takizo. She further says Takizo spent his childhood in the mountains and can survive in any condition. He can live on rabbits, birds, even tree bark. He'll always evade these samurai. If he reaches the mountains once, catching him will be impossible. Takizo sits in the forest eating something when he sees some villagers passing by with sticks in their hands. Seeing them, he runs away. Then a villager appears in front of him who has already seen Takizo. Before the villager can say anything, Takizo tells him that Matahachi is alive and to tell this to the granny. That's all he wants. Once this message reaches the granny, he'll leave from here. Then Takizo notices the villagers approaching him. He grabs a person by the mouth and asks why the villagers are helping the samurai. After learning about the village, he hits the person in the face and tells him to inform the granny and Otsu at Shippoji Temple that Matahachi is alive and won't return to Miyamoto village. Takizo can't tell them that Matahachi ran away with a woman. He kicks the person in the rear and lets him go. The person, freed from Takizo, runs to the villagers and informs them about Takizo's presence. The granny is at Shippoji Temple and tells Captain Aoki that she's Matahachi's mother and her name is Osugi. Takizo took Matahachi with him to the Battle of Sekigahara, and he still hasn't returned. The leader asks about the girl standing beside the granny. The granny tells him it's Otsu, Matahachi's fiancé. Captain Aoki doesn't like Otsu. The granny says Otsu hates Takizo as much as she does. To confirm whether she hates him or not, the granny has to vouch for her, saying Otsu's behavior should be forgiven. She explains that Otsu is an orphan who doesn't understand manners well. Although she's 17, she doesn't know how the world works. She explains to Otsu that if she wants to become the Hanaiden family's daughter-in-law, she needs to improve her behavior. Night has fallen, and the granny is praying for Matahachi's safety. She cries remembering her son and has the illusion that her son and Takizo have come to her house. But when she looks, only Takizo is standing there. At this time, Otsu is at Shippoji Temple playing the flute. The captain tells her Matahachi must have died in some battle by now. This angers Otsu. He tells her to leave and that he doesn't need her. He says Otsu is engaged and will become the Hanaiden family's daughter-in-law, that Matahachi is dead and she should leave. She leaves from there, feeling ashamed because she's nothing but a failure. Now in the room, Captain Aoki and Otsu are sitting. The captain tells Otsu that men die quickly in war, and Matahachi was just a foot soldier with a spear anyway. Otsu tells the captain that Matahachi is as strong as Takizo. The captain says Takizo will eventually be caught and killed by his men, and she should accept that Matahachi is dead. Saying this, he pounces on Otsu and suggests they have some fun. Otsu tries to escape and kicks the captain in the head, knocking him unconscious. She runs away saying she belongs to Matahachi. Running from there, she remembers Matahachi. It's been almost a year since Matahachi left, and she can't even remember his face anymore. Seeing her, someone approaches and apologizes for not being able to do anything. He gives Otsu a letter specifically addressed to her. Otsu doesn't understand who would send a letter to an orphan like her. Meanwhile, Takizo stands before the granny wanting to tell her something. The granny is very angry at Takizo and attacks him with a knife. She tells Takizo she'll kill him first and then kill herself. As she moves forward to attack Takizo, he tells her that Matahachi is alive, and that's what he came here to tell her. She asks Takizo why he didn't return. She holds Takizo responsible for taking Matahachi to the Battle of Sekigahara. She asks why Matahachi isn't here, and how Takizo dared to come here alone. Takizo doesn't answer Granny. The Granny, while hitting Takizo, tells him to return her Matahachi. Then Takizo tells the truth, that Matahachi is living with another woman in another province. The granny is shocked. Meanwhile, Otsu has also opened the letter. She has two letters, one from Oko telling Otsu to forget Matahachi, and another from Matahachi telling her to forget him and live her life happily. After reading this, Otsu finally remembers Matahachi's face. After reading these letters, she's devastated. She tears up the letters and questions herself. She becomes so distraught that she cuts herself and starts crying. The granny apologizes to Takizo and advises him to come to her house, so no one notices him. She gives Takizo Matahachi's clothes too. She tells him he must have been living in the mountains for several days and must be hungry. Why doesn't she make something for him to eat while he bathes and changes clothes? Takizo asks why she's doing this. The granny, crying, says she's Matahachi's mother, and Takizo is her son's friend. Takizo accepts the granny's offer. The granny asks about his future plans. He tells the granny he'll wander the country as a swordsman to polish his skills. Takizo says he's been trapped. He notices that Aoki and his men have surrounded the house. Aoki thanks the granny and orders his soldiers to block all escape routes. Takizo is very angry. First, he took her son to war, then came alone to Miyamoto village, and now has the audacity to tell the granny that her son is with another woman in another province. The granny thinks she won't believe Takizo's lie. She'll only believe that Matahachi is alive. Takizo breaks down the door and comes out naked with his wooden sword. He stands before Captain Aoki and his soldiers. He asks the granny if this was all her plan. The granny tells him to surrender. Even if he surrenders, he'll get the death penalty and his head will be cut off. The villagers stand with the soldiers. Aoki orders them. A soldier moves forward and attacks Takizo. Takizo attacks him with his wooden sword and knocks him to ground. Seeing this, all the villagers and soldiers standing there are shocked. Takizo tells them if they've come to fight, they should come with the intention to kill. If they want to kill him, Takizo will kill them before dying himself. Takizo is fighting Captain Aoki's soldiers, while Otsu is walking to the streets cursing Matahachi. And with this, the volume ends.